Okay, get this. The term brain rot, it just exploded. Usage went up like 230% in just 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like if two people were talking about it before, suddenly it was more like 6 or 7. And, the Oxford Dictionary people, they actually named it their word of the year for 2024.
Brain rot. Yeah, it's definitely captured something.
Totally. But what is it? What's this phenomenon that's got everyone talking? Is our brain actually, rotting?
Well, maybe not literally rotting, thankfully, but it's a huge question. So in this deep dive, we're really going to unpack what people mean by brain rot. We've looked at scientific articles, some surprising history, digital culture analyses, a bit of everything.
Right. And our mission today is basically to get to the core of this brain rot idea without, adding to the mental fog. We want to pull out the key insights, maybe bust some myths and find some interesting connections for you.
Exactly. Distill it down.
So let's dive right in. In simple terms, what are we talking about when we say brain rot?
Okay, so the modern idea, the one Oxford Dictionary picked up on, it really means feeling like your mental sharpness, your thinking power is kind of dulling down.
Because of
spending, maybe too much time consuming really trivial, low-quality stuff online. Think endless scrolling through things that don't really challenge you.
So it's not like a medical condition a doctor would diagnose?
No, definitely not. It's not a formal medical term, but it describes a very real feeling. People have that mental fog, maybe finding it hard to focus, feeling cognitively just tired.
Like digital burnout, almost?
Kind of, yeah. And Dr. Susan Lacowski, a neuropsychologist, she explains it as the negative effects you get from too much exposure to content that's shallow or super repetitive or just constantly trying to grab your attention in an intense way.
Okay. Like those really short slashy videos or memes that just keep coming.
Exactly that kind of stuff. The things you watch, maybe chuckle at for a second, but then an hour later you can't remember any of them.
Yeah, I know that feeling. It's so easy to just get sucked into the scroll.
Yeah.
But the term brain rot sounds so modern, so digital. Has this kind of worry always been around?
Okay, this is where it gets fascinating. The core idea isn't new at all. Believe it or not, we found the term used way, way back in 1854.
1854, seriously? Who was talking about brain rot then?
Henry David Thoreau.
The Walden guy, no way.
Yes. In Walden, he uses brain rot as a metaphor. There was a disease hitting potatoes then, the potato rot, and he compared society's preference for what he saw as trivial thinking over deep, meaningful, intellectual stuff to that rot.
Wow.
He literally wrote something like, while England tries to cure the potato rot, shouldn't someone try to cure the brain rot? He felt people were letting their minds get filled with fluff even back then.
That's incredible. So the anxiety about mental junk food is pretty old.
It seems so. Just the delivery method has changed dramatically.
And you mentioned it resurfaced online more recently.
Yeah, around 2020, it started gaining traction as like an internet meme or a joke, particularly on places like Discord.
Okay. But then, by 2024, especially with the explosion of short-form video on platforms like TikTok, the term just took off. It became a common way for people, especially younger people, to describe that feeling of being mentally drained by online content.
Right. So it's an old worry wearing new digital clothes. Okay, well, we get what it is, roughly. How does our current digital life feed into it? What are the main culprits?
Well, a huge factor is simply the sheer amount of time we spend online. The average person globally is on social media for about 143 minutes every single day.
That's over 2 hours.
It is. And think about this. That adds up to more than 35 full days out of the year just on social media.
Oh, man. When you put it like that.
For some groups, like young women aged 16, 24, it's even higher, nearly 3 hours a day on average. That's a massive opportunity cost, right? Time not spent on hobbies, face-to-face friendships, exercise, just living.
Definitely makes you think. And it's not just the amount of time, is it? It's also what we're looking at during that time. Precisely.
Yeah.
A lot of the content associated with brain rot is, frankly, trivial. It's unchallenging, often mindless. We're talking things like, skibidi toilet memes.
Oh yeah, those are something.
Or the only in Ohio jokes, the whole grimace shake trend, even the intense focus on looks maxing online. It's very surface level, often repetitive.
Stuff designed for a quick reaction, not deep thought, like mental candy.
It's a great analogy. And sometimes that's the appeal, isn't it? People talk about wanting to just turn off their brain for a bit.
True. We all need downtime.
But the platforms themselves are also designed in ways that can, contribute to this feeling. They're built to keep you engaged.
How so? What are they doing?
Well, think about the dopamine hit you get from likes, shares, new notifications. It's a little reward cycle that makes your brain want more. Then you've got infinite scroll. There's no natural stopping point. And the short form content itself trains our brains for constant, rapid stimulation. Plus, the algorithms, those complex systems deciding what you see next. They use something called variable ratio reinforcement.
It's like a slot machine.
Exactly like a slot machine. You never know when the next reward, a video you like, is coming, so you keep pulling the lever, or in this case, keep scrolling. It makes these platforms incredibly sticky.
Wow. So our own brain chemistry and clever app design are working together to keep us glued, even if the content isn't that great.
It's a powerful combination.
Okay, so if we're spending hours looking at trivial stuff pushed by addictive designs, what does that actually do to our minds? Let's talk effects. Attention span first.
Yeah, that's a big one, people report. A decline in the average human attention span has been noted, and while it's complex, the constant task switching and rapid-fire information online likely plays a role. Our brains get trained for distraction.
Makes sense. I feel like I jump between tabs constantly. What about memory? Does it mess with that?
It seems like it can, yeah. When you're just flooded with information constantly and your attention is divided, it's harder for your brain to actually encode and consolidate memories properly. Things don't stick.
Right.
And there's also this related idea of digital amnesia, the tendency to rely on our devices to store information like phone numbers or directions, potentially weakening our own memory muscles.
Like outsourcing our memory. That's a bit unsettling. What about critical thinking? Being able to solve problems or think deeply.
That can also take a hit. If your brain gets used to fragmented information and quick hits, engaging in sustained mental effort like reading a dense article or working through a complex problem can feel more difficult.
So it trains us for shallowness.
It can. Although it's worth noting the nuance some research shows that using social media for academic purposes, for learning and discussion, can actually be beneficial for cognitive skills. So it really depends how you're using these tools.
Okay, that's important. It's not inherently bad, it's the type of consumption. Now, you mentioned some neuroscience earlier. Actual brain changes. That sounds serious.
It is intriguing, and yes, some findings are concerning. One study, for instance, linked excessive screen time in young adults to a potential thinning of the cerebral cortex.
Whoa, the cortex. Isn't that like the main thinking part?
It's heavily involved in higher-level processing, decision-making, memory, yes. Thinning there isn't generally seen as a positive sign. Other research has found lower gray matter volume in individuals with excessive screen time or diagnosed smartphone addiction.
And gray matter is
important.
right. Very. It's crucial for processing information, movement control, memory, emotions. Less gray matter is often associated with cognitive difficulties.
Right.
But here's a really interesting twist. Some studies have found increased gray matter in specific areas like the orbitofrontal cortex and cerebellum linked to compulsive short video use.
They increased, so more brain matter, is that good?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
It might indicate those brain regions which are involved in reward processing and habit formation are becoming hypersensitized or overactive due to the constant stimulation from these apps. Like the brain is adapting to crave those digital rewards more intensely.
Okay, so the brain is changing, possibly to make the addiction stronger. That's one interpretation of the findings. And researchers have also observed heightened neural activity in brain areas related to reward, decision-making, attention, and emotion regulation in people considered addicted to short-form videos. It shows these platforms can really rewire brain circuits.
This is definitely making me rethink my evening scroll. But okay, it's not just about pure brain power, is it? This brain rot feeling seems tied to overall well-being too.
Absolutely. The cognitive side is just one piece. Excessive digital engagement is strongly linked in research to increased feelings of anxiety, depression, and stress.
Why is that?
Well, think about the constant pressure of notifications, the fear of missing out, FOMO, the endless social comparison where everyone else's life looks perfect online. It can really ramp up anxiety and chip away at self-esteem. Some also suggest it can lead to emotional desensitization over time.
Yeah, that comparison trap is real. And I know screens affect sleep too.
Big time. The blue light emitted from screens, especially used late at night, disrupts our body's production of melatonin.
Sleep hormone.
Exactly. And core sleep, as we know, messes with everything: mood, concentration, memory. It creates a vicious cycle with the cognitive issues we talked about.
Definitely feel that when I've been on my phone too late.
Yeah.
What about connecting with people? Isn't social media meant to be social?
That's the paradox, isn't it? While it can connect people across distances, over-reliance on digital interaction can sometimes come at the expense of deeper, real-life relationships. Prioritizing online validation over face-to-face connection can strain bonds. Plus, there's sometimes a communication gap, especially between generations, fueled by rapidly changing internet slang and communication styles.
So this brain rot idea touches on our thinking, memory, mood, sleep, even our real-world connections. It's pretty far-reaching. But let's circle back. It's not a medical diagnosis, right? How does it differ from something like ADHD?
Crucial distinction. Yeah, brain rot is a colloquial term for a subjective experience and observed effects. It's not a formal medical or psychiatric diagnosis. ADHD, on the other hand, is a neurodevelopmental disorder with specific diagnostic criteria, often present from childhood. It's about brain function and development, not intellectual decline from content consumption.
Okay. But could someone with ADHD maybe be more susceptible to falling into brain rot habits?
That's plausible. Individuals with ADHD often struggle with executive functions like attention regulation and impulse control, which might make the constant stimulation and rewards of certain online content particularly engaging, potentially leading to excessive use. But the screen time is a manifestation or coping mechanism, not the cause of the ADHD.
Got it. And what about digital dementia? I've seen that term thrown around too. Is that official?
Nope. Also not an official medical diagnosis. It's another coined term, similar in concept to brain rot, often used to describe perceived cognitive decline linked to technology overuse, particularly passive screen time, like just watching videos for hours.
Passive screen time.
Yeah, some research suggests that excessive passive consumption might be associated with dementia-like brain changes, whereas active technology use like learning, creating, problem-solving online might actually be neuroprotective.
Interesting. So again, how you use the tech matters more than just the screen time itself.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a lot. It sounds potentially worrying. What can people actually do about it? How do we fight back against the rot?
The good news is you absolutely have agency here. It really starts with mindful consumption, being aware of how much time you're spending and what you're consuming.
So like tracking screen time, setting a limit.
Exactly. Using app timers, setting phone-free times or zones, consciously taking breaks, and importantly, curating your feed. Be intentional. Unfollow accounts that just serve up mindless stuff or make you feel bad. Actively seek out content that's enriching, that teaches you something or sparks genuine interest.
Be the boss of your algorithm, basically.
Kind of, yeah. And beyond managing screen time, actively stimulate your brain and body offline. Puzzles, reading books or long articles, learning a new language or instrument. Anything that requires focused attention and effort. And regular physical exercise, hugely beneficial for brain health.
Right. The classic advice is classic for a reason. What about general health stuff?
Absolutely critical. Prioritize quality sleep. That 7 to 9 hour window is key for cognitive function and emotional regulation. Nutrition matters too. Diets rich in fruits, vegetables, healthy fats like the Mediterranean diet are linked to better brain health. Omega-3s are often mentioned.
Brain food. Makes sense.
And managing stress is huge. Find healthy coping mechanisms, mindfulness, meditation, hobbies, spending time in nature, whatever works for you to decompress without reaching for the phone first.
Okay, so it's really a holistic approach. Manage the tech, stimulate the mind, care for the body, manage stress.
You got it. And one more crucial piece. Real face-to-face social connection. Prioritize spending quality time with family, friends, your community. Those in-person interactions provide social and emotional benefits that digital connections often can't fully replicate.
Makes total sense. So let's try and wrap this up. Brain rot. It describes a real set of feelings and potential consequences, right? Linked to how we swim in this digital ocean.
Yeah, definitely. It taps into genuine concerns about attention, memory, critical thinking, and just overall well-being in the face of constant, often low-quality digital stimulation. It's not a medical term, but the effects it describes are significant for many people.
But the empowering part is that we're not helpless.
Mm-hmm.
We can take control by being more mindful, making deliberate choices about our digital habits, and prioritizing a balanced lifestyle that includes offline activities and real connection.
Exactly. It's about conscious engagement rather than passive consumption.
It does leave you with a final thought, though. You know, with online content evolving so fast and algorithms getting smarter, what's our collective responsibility here? How do we help shape a digital world that, nourishes our minds instead of eroding them?
That's the big question, isn't it? A really important one for all of us to consider.
Absolutely. Okay, so now that you've taken this deep dive with us, We genuinely want to hear your thoughts. What are your experiences with digital consumption? Have you found any strategies that help you find balance? Did anything we talked about spark new questions?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Head down to the comments section and share your perspective. Let's keep this important conversation going.